Paulie Malignaggi, as we know, is not the greatest Canelo fan and had some more interesting words to say about Canelo Alvarez. Also seems like he did a 360 on the Canelo versus Crawford fight. First, he was criticizing Canelo for taking the fight because he said it was a mismatch. Crawford is too small. Now it seems like Paulie Malignaggi has changed his views on the fight. I don't owe the rights to this content. It's for educational purposes only. This is Malignaggi on FightHype.com explaining his point of view and some more interesting things about Canelo Alvarez. Let's take a listen.
Down. What has he done? He hasn't really dug down and gone for broke in fights where he's been losing. He just kind of accepted the loss.
Like Bivol.
We saw that with Floyd too. Or early on with Floyd too. People will say that he was young, but he never really took a risk in the Floyd fight once he was outclassed. He just accepted it. Like, all right, this guy's outclassed.
Now, I think the fight Paulie Malignaggi is talking about is the Canelo versus Bivol fight. He says Canelo knew he was losing the fight and just gave in and didn't want to take a risk of being knocked out. In other words, I think Paulie Malignaggi is calling Canelo a front runner. Instead of taking a risk to turn the tables, Paulie Malignaggi said he gave in, accepted a decision loss because he didn't want to face further damage or the risk of being knocked out and embarrassed. Let's continue.
With Bivol, it's worse because Bivol, now you're in your prime and you can't use the excuse that you weren't experienced. You physically saw and mentally saw this guy's better than me, and you made a conscious decision not to take a risk. I'm going to just go the distance and I'm going to be happy to do it. Made a conscious decision. That exposed a lot because ever since then, he lowered his level of opposition tremendously.
Paulie saying he noticed a drop in competition when Canelo faced that loss. What fights is he talking about? He's talking about the Triple G fight. Triple G had to go up 8 pounds and Triple G was past his prime. He's talking about Jaime Munguia. Munguia wasn't in his class as far as boxing. He's talking about the Edgar Berlanga fight, and you also could throw Ryder in there. He says all those are categorized as easy fights for Canelo Alvarez, cherry picks, easy money fights. Now, I'm not agreeing with what Paulie is saying, but I can tell you firsthand that a lot of loyal Canelo fans that I know was not happy with his fight selection after the Bivol fight. Let's continue.
Okay, so I look at that and I see, remember what I said about Crawford earlier in this interview. He is a guy who reminds me of Floyd, and that he stays hungry, motivated, and wants to still be the best, has that mean streak in the ring. Not to say that Canelo doesn't have a mean streak, but I feel like once you start punching Canelo a few times in the face, that mean streak ain't so mean anymore. You know what I mean? He punks out a little bit.
So Paulie believes Crawford and Canelo both have mean streaks, but he feels that you punch Canelo enough, you can take away his mean streak, and he gets discouraged. In his words, Canelo will punk out. He feels that Crawford is a hungrier fighter, and he also believes Crawford is like Mayweather. I don't believe Crawford's like Mayweather. I think Crawford is a more riskier fighter than Mayweather was. If Crawford was just like Mayweather, defensively sound, he probably could box his way to victory over Canelo. But Crawford is not that type of fighter. I think if Canelo hits Crawford with a good shot, Crawford is going to want to get his get back. And that could be detrimental to him winning this fight. I think Paulie Malignaggi is underrating Canelo Alvarez's boxing IQ and underrating his boxing grit. Let's continue.
So while Crawford, I feel like, wants to go for the gusto. That doesn't mean to me that Crawford wins because he's small, but I'm just saying I believe more now that Crawford can win than I did originally when this was first being talked about. And I would love to see Crawford win because I feel like if Canelo gets this payday, which is going to be a big payday, and then also gets the win out of it, it's just too much of a reward for outright ducking Benavidez and being allowed to duck his mandatory contender while holding all the belts hostages at 150.
So now we're getting to the bottom of it, and I knew we would. This is all about Canelo fighting all of his mandatories, but he did not fight David Benavidez. And Paulie Malignaggi cannot let that go. And this fight will never happen unless Benavidez steps up to the plate and fights for undisputed at 175. So it sounds like Paulie Malignaggi's picking Terence Crawford to win for no other reason but to see Canelo lose another fight. Because before, he's picking Crawford to lose against Canelo because he's undersized. Now, he's going the other way because his hatred for Canelo. But anyway, maybe I'm off. Leave your thoughts and comments below. Let me know what you think. Jay Beezy, I'm gone.